Rap star and music producer Dr. Dre.
Hip-hop mogul Dr. Dre, rapper Dr. Dre.
Tupac hated Dr. Dre. Before signing to Death Row and actually working with the man, Tupac thought of Dr. Dre as one of his heroes. That quickly changed after Dre was too busy to come forward as a witness at Snoop Dogg's murder trial. Despite the fact that Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre were very close and Snoop was somewhat of his protege, Dre did nothing to get Snoop cleared. Tupac saw this as a lack of loyalty towards Snoop Dogg and Death Row. Furthermore, Tupac didn't like how Dr. Dre was getting all the producing credits for All Eyes on Me in 1996, while in reality, Dr. Dre's contributions were quite minimal. Tupac never hid his hatred for Dr. Dre at all. In one of the interviews with Vibe magazine, he threw a jab at Dr. Dre saying he wasn't producing shit. Other was producing the beats and he was getting all the credit. He a dope producer, but he ain't worked in years, taking 3 years to do one song. After Dr. Dre left Death Row, Tupac dissed him in almost every song he released, also alleging him to be bi. On the Don Illuminati, the 7-Day Theory released in 1996, he jabbed, "We shook Dre punk ass, now we out of the closet, California Love part mother 2 without gay Dre." On the same album, nearly the entire third verse of Toss It Up was dedicated to dissing Dr. Dre. "No longer Dre Day, Arriva Dirty, check your sexuality, as fruity as this Elise. Screamin' Compton, but you can't return. You ain't heard. Brother pissed cause you switched and escaped to the burbs." The song's beat, especially before the remix of the album, was actually very similar to Blackstreet No Diggity, which was produced by Dre. Most of the first verse on a song that never made it to any official album, Watch Your Mouth, was also aimed at Dr. Dre, specifically because Dre was working with Nas immediately after he left Death Row. He rapped, "He ain't made a beat in 6 years, swear he the shit, won't get no record sales sucking Nas." Dr. Dre hated Suge Knight for bringing in Tupac. Dr. Dre and Suge Knight have had an interesting relationship over the years. From chart-topping highs to depressing lows, the pair were once a formidable force in the industry. However, over the years, their friendship began to sour and turned to hatred. Dre and Knight's partnership began in 1991 when the two met through their mutual friend, the DOC. Dr. Dre was keen to leave Ruthless Records as Jerry Heller had lost control of the collective. As a result, Dre was eager to find a new musical home, and Knight proposed the two go into business by founding a label. Knight told Dre that he would be free to scout talent and produce while Knight himself would supervise operations and the label's finances, which Dre was more than happy to agree to. By threatening Eazy-E, Knight managed to get Dre released from his contract with Ruthless Records. Still, Eazy-E received 20% of all Death Row material. Between 1992, when Dre released his debut, The Chronic, and 1995, the operations at Death Row Records ran smoothly. When Tupac was released from jail and began spending time with Suge Knight, the two began fueling the East Coast versus West Coast war, which made the atmosphere at the label toxic and dangerous. The notorious gangster was not only threatening people in the streets, but was encouraging diss records and more.